All right, so I believe that today. Oh, hello everyone. I believe that today is the 20th. Is this the 20th? Um,
Yes.
it is. So happy 20th session. You guys are almost full-fledged, full-stack developers. Psych. Well, you
Well,
guys
you guys are.
are.
So mean,
Yeah,
man.
yeah. You guys are almost. No, you guys are pretty.
Getting ready to throw us to the fire. Like, go to work, man.
Yeah, well, you guys are
You guys are.
there. You guys are ahead of a lot of people that I've seen that have interviewed for jobs. So I mean, by quite a bit. So no worries. Once we go into the next half, you guys are gonna be way ahead. I mean, if you guys understand the MVC flow of, it goes to controller, then an action, then that action goes somewhere and view, and that's very important. Okay, so as we were just talking about, let's go over a quick overview of how to connect the database to a project from scratch. I know on the assignment I was probably I should have made it more, I should have made it clearer that you had to kind of create your own database with these things and connect that database to um, your project. Because if you try to use mine, it's kind of hardwire to, have my server name. You have to give it yours in a way. But anyway, um, okay, who's ready? Who's ready to learn some shit? Okay,
Kick
okay.
ass.
Let's do this. Let's do this. So to start, we have three. We have a database here. Our database. Well, we have a database server. Our database is called GameDB, and the tables that we have three tables. We have one character that has character information. We got Thor. We got three Thors in there. We got item information, and then we have weapons, and they have attributes or fields. We got type, cost, description, damage, and the ID. And again, just a quick view of the character. The character has a name, a job, an age, level, gold, race, HP, MP, and so forth. Okay, so we're all on the same page here. Okay, great. So what we're going to do, so now we have a database installed, in which we did in another video, and we got tables, like I said, and it's all good. So now let's start our project. Let's start from scratch. So where is Visual Studio? Let's go get some Visual Studio here. That is not Visual Studio. There you go. Okay, so how do I start a new project? Anybody know? Just go to File.
File new.
Yep. File, New Project. Remember, this has got to be second nature.
Whole thing.
Yep, second nature right here. Okay, so we're going to call it um, game. Well, I don't know. Game game example or something. I don't know. Okay. All right. So here we go. That's fine. Find this type, right? Because we're doing a web application, normal .NET framework, and we hit OK. Type. It's an MVC project, correct? Okay.
Okay.
There we go. It's taking a little bit. Creating all the goods. See if I got anything else open. I think I'm good. Okay, don't need this. All right, so the whole point to this is we just started a new project and we want to connect it to the database, and we want to use Entity Framework to be able to use that database and the objects and tables in that database as code and classes in Visual Studio and in our code. Does anybody remember what that is called? What technology? What that technology is called?
Object relational mapping.
That's oh damn it! Yes.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm loud. That is correct. It is, man. It is ORM framework, and in our case, the Microsoft version. Well, this one is called Entity Framework. And again, all that lets you do is it allows you to use, like I just said, the database objects and tables as classes and objects and instances in your code. So, for example, we have a character table. So in our code, we would have a character. We can instantiate something of a character class, and it would be treated as this table. So I could like, hey, give me the character with the ID 4, and then we would go to the table and say, oh, okay, get the character with the ID 4, and then we would get all the information, and then we would be able to interact, update, and do all sorts of things through code. Normally, you would have to use SQL to be able to do that. And which we still can, like you do select, and but it's much better to be able to use it. This is SQL here. It's much better to be able to use it as with Entity Framework or with a framework, ORM framework. Okay, sorry, went off on a tangent there, but it's important to review. So the first thing that we need to do is number 1. Connect to the database. We need to create. So remember, there's 2 steps that we need to do. Right? Okay. Oh, this is another one right here. One is connect to the database. I think I should add that here. Maybe later. Okay. 1, connect to the database. So how do I connect to the database? Anybody remember?
Tools.
Sure, tools. Oh, right here. You guys remember? So connect to database. Blah blip. Okay. So I mean, I have well, so this. What is the name of a server? So it's asking me for the name of a server. Sometimes it's smart enough if you click here. Depending on how you have your server set up or how you have your computer set up, if you do this, it will recognize them sometimes. So I say like, hey, if you have this, and then from the drop down, you're able to select. But sometimes it doesn't. Most of the time, for now, for our setup, it won't. So we have to go and find out what the name of the server is. So in order for us to do that, we need to go back to the server, and basically this is our server here. You see, it's Cesar Herrera -aces and then /SQL Express. Okay, so what was it? C Herrera? Well, let's use big words, I guess. C Herrera -aces, and then that weird backward slash, I guess. And what was it? SQL Express? SQL Express? Okay. You know you did this correctly, or if you have the right name, because you see down here where it says select or enter a database name. If you drop this down, so basically if you see anything here, it means you have the correct database name. So do you guys remember that our database is called GameDB? Right? Okay, so then we choose that. But again, if I entered this, wrongly, right? I mean, like incorrectly, then I would not be able to say, hey, let me choose from one of these databases. They'll say like, hey man, sorry, there's not, can't find anything. All right, so GameDB, that's what we want to connect to. You could test the connection, but we know that it will work, at least for now, and then say OK. Boom. So now we have a connection. So now our project here has a connection to the database. We have a sweet connection. So again, that should be here. Connect to database. So let me see. DB steps. So what are they? Steps. 1, put a hole in the box as always right now. So what's the first step? 1, connect to the database, right? Connect to the database. So this is under tools, database. There you go. And what is number 2?
Find the server name.
Well, yeah, no, I mean it's kind of the whole general step, what we just did. Yeah. So remember, we're trying to use entity framework. So we already did the first step here, which is add a connection to the database. So now the next one is to go use entity framework, add entity framework to the project. Yeah, so we'll connect. Let me see, add entity framework. Okay. Do you guys remember how to do that?
No.
Build.
Build? Go ahead.
Oh, jeez. Build solution.
Build solution? That's not it, but that's a good try.
Damn it.
Well, remember, we're adding something. We're
All right.
Yeah. Those were good tries, though. Those were good tries. Those were very good tries. Okay. Aha. Okay. Well, it is. Well, there's a couple of ways, but for now, the easiest way, let's just say that we're going to add something. Okay? Or we could just say new something. And actually, new item. Yeah, there it is. Sorry. Project new item. That is what we want. So project new item. And what kind of item are we looking for? What does it relate to usually? What are we dealing with?
Something that connects to the database?
Yeah. So you see all these things over here? So for these,
Got the SQL server?
No, this is more of a unit test type thing, which we're not using right now.
I have no idea what that means, but it's good enough for me.
Yeah, no, later on we will. It's just a way to test, make sure that your code doesn't crash. It tests your code for you in a way. But yeah, so no, not this one. Normally we would have other things here, but no, that's not it. We're dealing with data. Here we go. So data, and remember we talked about this guy here, the ADO.NET Entity Data Model, at least for now. Okay, so let's see, and let's call it DB model. So far so good. Okay, so this is under, what was under this? Project, add new item. Let's see. Project, add new item, data, and then what's this? ADO.NET Entity Data Model. Yeah, I mean, we're going to be playing with other different ones, but this is kind of the basic that we need to go through. Is that cool? All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so again, just remember, I mean, you don't have to memorize all these things. I mean, you'll be able to come here, but just know that by playing around with these, you'll be able to get here. So here we go, and I'm going to add it. Okay. And then here it says, hey, what do you want to use here? So Entity Framework Designer from database. So it actually tells you, look, create a model, the EF Designer based on an existing database. So do we have an existing database? We do. So, I mean, there's some other stuff here. This is the reverse, code first from database. But actually, it's similar, I guess, but not the same yet. Okay, so we're ready. All right, so this one here, EF. Just say yes. Game DB entities. I guess you just call it Game DB for now. And let's do this. Entity Framework 6 is fine. Okay, so what is it that we want? We want the data. I mean, we want the tables, right? For now, you don't have to worry about these things. Store procedures and views. Do not pluralize. Model namespace is GameDB model, I guess. Yeah, that's fine. And
is pluralized? Is that what happened when you had people?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, that was strange.
Yeah, that was strange. I'm like, where the hell did that word come from? I'm like, what? Yeah, it changes it up for you, which is fun. Yeah. But normally it should just add an S or something, but it's strange. Maybe it knows.
Apparently it's smart enough to know plural words.
Yeah, I think so. All right, so for now, yeah, we're keeping it safe. Yeah, so game DB model, and remember that you could name these things whatever you want. All right, so it's doing its thing. It's going to take a little bit to do its thing because it has to do a lot of things. Okay, so bloom, it did its magic. You guys see this? And since we created the database somewhat okay, remember we created the primary key. Each one has one primary key on the ID, so it didn't mess it up or anything. And it created, so we have these tables here, right? And added all these references, which we go over later on. And it created these models for us. Created character here. Created item here. And it created weapon. Okay. And so again, this is kind of like a code version, an object version. It creates the class version of the database tables. Okay. So I'm just going to close this, and it should we close right here, and then save it. It's going to take a little bit to save. Question. If I went ahead and changed the database and I wanted to update my, this model, because this is kind of a model from the database, that's what it's called. See, we call it DB model. So if I wanted to update, if I added a table, let's say in the database, how would I update it? How would I do that? Do you guys remember?
Use the insert into query.
No. I mean, just this model alone here. Like, remember, right click and then update model from the database. Yeah. Like, remember how this one time we added a new table here? Like, let's say we added a table called spells or spell. So if I add a table here, this table is going to be new in the database, but it's not going to show up here, right? It won't know what it is. In order for the changes to reflect, or in order for this model of the database to reflect the changes in the database, you have to right click and update model from database. That way you can see the newest changes that we did in the database here. And you can use those objects. So if I created a spell table here, and then I updated it, then it will create a spell class. And then we could use the spell class, a spell class just like we could with any of these guys here. One caveat, a little bugaboo, right? You guys remember what it is?
It's a bugaboo.
That's right. That is right. Yes. A little bugaboo with this is that you might update it. It might not look like it's updated, but sometimes the new table that some of the changes, you have to scroll down because sometimes they show up over here.
Ah, right.
Yes. And don't forget to save. Whenever you do that, don't forget to save it. If you don't save it, the changes will not take hold. It's very important to change.
Do it all over again.
Yep, and it is a pain. Before we continue, though, we're in a pretty decent place here on how to add, how to do the database and how to add entity framework. Because here, while we're here, we're pretty much able to use the contact here, right? Let's just say I'm just going to delete this here. Let's see. So from now on, whenever I want to, so what models do I have? I have my character model, right? Character equals new character. So obviously I'm able to use the class that we just got from the database. And if I wanted to save it to the database, how would I be able to do that? If I wanted to, let's say I create this character and I put information in it. Like let's say I'm going to put a name. Character.name equals Bobby.
That's my cat.
Oh, sweet. It's Bobby the cat. It's one of those, what is it, Khajiits? Something like that.
There you go.
Yeah.
Would you like to browse our wares?
Yeah, that'd be the catchphrase. So how would I persist this, save this to the database, if you guys remember? Well, I mean, remember.
Looking for the code.
Yeah. Well, say it in English first, and then we'll go from there. What do we need to do?
You literally tell it to save to the database.
Yeah, but you're not breaking down those steps. You gotta break it down steps. So,
I'm not sure. So it's, database.save changes.
Okay, so if I were to say right there, well, what database? I don't know what you mean.
Yeah, to create an instance.
Exactly.
Database.
See that right there?
Okay, I got you.
Don't be jumping, my friend. That's how mistakes happen. Oh yeah. Remember, programming, you got to break things down in steps, and logical steps, and then execute those. Because going straight to the end, I know it sounds simple, and it is, but along the way, if you forget something, it's going to get ugly. But you're correct. And let's give Dave a fist bump. Dave deserves a fist bump for that. But so you need a database. The connection to the database. So in this case, what did I call the database? Was it GameDB? I think.
It's GameDB.
It's auto-completed for you.
That's right. So let's call it database. I think it was GameDB equals new GameDB. So how do I check if that is an actual database and what tables does it have? Go ahead.
However, GameDB.
Well, yes, that sort of.
Click on it.
Well, all it tells you is that it's a class called GameDB, right? But we don't really know. You could actually, yeah. Oh, you want to go to it? Like you could right-click and just go to definition. or go to implementation. And then you could see what it looks like. But that's not what I want to do, no. That is certainly not what I want to do. What I want to do is...
Server Explorer is still up. That's telling us, right?
No, it's not up. What's Server Explorer? No. Remember, you could just say, hey, how do you... I want you guys to get used to this. It's very important. How do you explore an object? Remember classes, right? A class is supposed to represent anything. It's supposed to, represent an idea or an object. And the way you explore it when you have an instance to it, you have a grasp, you have a hold to it, is by, going inside, prod it, touch it, see what kind of stuff is inside. You open it. And the way you do that, the way you open it and you can see inside, see, what you have access to, is by, checking it out. You do database and then what?
Name.
Not name, but you just say database dot. See, when you do the dot, that is going to give you all the methods and properties that you can do or you have access to in that database, or not even that database, in that object or class or instance of that class. So yeah, think of it as a piñata. Whenever you get an instance, whenever you have a class, use the dot to reference what's inside to see what you can reference. So it's fun whenever you get a new class. It's like, hey, I have a new class over here. I have a cool piñata class. I want to open it. What's inside? I'm gonna do piñata dot, and then let's see what I can do with the piñata, and then what kind of information, or a spaceship. You get spaceship dot, and then what kind of stuff do you have? Can the spaceship fly? Does it have a name? Thrusters, or all sorts of cool stuff. But yeah, imagine that classes, the way you explore classes, is by references. Referencing the what's inside. So since we know this is a database object in a way, right? GameDB, we created it. It's supposed to represent the database, and we expect tables to be inside, right? So we have the character table, which we know we have, right? And what else? We have the item table, and we have the weapons table. Okay, do me a favor and don't pay too much attention to some of these guys here. I mean, you could definitely hover over them and read them, and just check them out just to see what's up. But don't, you have save changes, of course, but don't get too hung up on them, okay? Because all objects, or most objects that are in C#, they come from a certain super object, right? Like a super duper duper object, or other classes, and they have these things over here, like some of the base classes, right? You don't need to worry about that. Just ignore them, at least for now, until you know what they are. But don't worry. Like, for example, only do the ones that you know. Are you guys familiar with save changes?
Yes.
Yes, we are. And you're familiar with item because it is a table in the database, and you're familiar with weapons as well. And of course, character. All right, so I have a character here, and I put the name Bobby in it. So how do I add this character to the database? In essence, what am I doing? Go ahead. Or what do I need to do?
We're trying to create a new... Hold on, we did that.
Yeah, I created a character here, yep. And then I put my name to Bobby. And I opened the connection to the database. So what do I need?
We want a database.character add.
That's right. Oh, my goodness. So database.character, which character represents kind of a list of characters in the database, right?
Yeah.
Is it easier if you call it characters, or is character okay?
Character's okay for me.
Okay, yeah. Because characters might be cool. I don't know. Character. I like character. Either one works. Okay,
If we're doing like a list of characters, it might make more sense. But we could do both with character, if that makes sense.
yeah, it encompasses, I think. Yeah, but in this case, the table, it's a list of characters, and so to say that, hey, I want to add a character to the table, and which character do I want to add?
Bobby.
No, Bobby. Well, yes, but which instance? What should I type here?
So just character?
Well,
Lowercase?
yeah, character, yeah. There you go. Because the character, we assign the name of the characters to be Bobby, but it could have been anything else. This is just an instance of a
That's
character.
what we call an instance, yeah.
Yeah. And then how do I save the changes?
Database dot
Save changes.
There it is, yeah.
That's right. But again, so remember, never be afraid of exploring or spelunking classes. Whenever you see a new class, whenever you see anything cool, just, hey, type the name of the class or whatever, the instance, and then just explore it, man. Just explore it. Yeah. And then dot, and then see what's in there. That way you see what you have access to. And you will be doing that most of the time too, because you won't know everything that you can do with a class until you access its members and methods and properties, right? Like, you don't know what it's made of until you explore it. So this is good right here. This is good, and this would create a character and name it Bobby and put it in the database and save it. It would actually maybe crash here, but because we set certain constraints on the database, or maybe we didn't, I don't know. Well, let's see. So remember, I created this under the contact just to save time. All right, so let's see. So let's see if this works. Let's see if this works. We are running the project here. So again, whenever I click here, this creates a local server, local web server, and it will behave like as it was a real world web server out there somewhere in the internet. So it's kind of like a test server. And there you go, it brought it up. And then home, where do I go? We created this in the contact.
Thank you.
So we will go there and let's see. Boom. So let me ask you a question. So if we reach the view here, right? We reach the view. Because we reach a view, we know because it changed and it returned the view. This is the contact view. So that means, what does that mean? Tell me what that means. Well, it means that remember, we entered the contact here, the contact action, and we executed all of this, right? And we reached this point and we didn't crash. So something probably happened without crashing, and let's see. So how do I check to see if anything was saved to the database? So you guys tell me. Well, we could go to the database, right? And then just execute this. Or just right click and then select top 1000.
Let's see what shows up. Okay, yeah.
Boom, look at that. That's pretty sweet. Pretty sweet. So we were able to put Bobby in there. Of course, we're missing all the other fields because we did not enter them. So I just put the default value for the type. So for default for integer is 0 and default for string is null. So we put, and since this is auto incrementing key, we didn't need to give the ID that the system knows to create it for us. Okay, so no, this is good. This is definitely a good solid. Yeah, this is very important to for this to be solid before we can move on. So here we did some kind of review and how solid, how well are you guys up to here from 1 to 10 with EF and at least the simple database actually.
What we've done so far, I'm feeling an 8.
Yeah. Ooh, throwing 8s out there. You can. Wow. Throwing 8s out there like it's 1999, huh? All right. Right.
Those are 9s, but okay.
Oh no. Yeah. That is true. Throwing 8. Throwing 8. That's a hard number. That's good stuff. I'm glad. This is good stuff. This is good stuff. So yeah. So remember, and also, we're updating this so you could take a look at it. And how well do you feel about, now that we have the first half, which is the database half and the objects, how well do you feel about creating the roster page, create action, delete, and edit? Is it difficult, do you think, or hard?
I will have to review those past videos from class 11. Which I start doing.
I did create a bunch of them, and I don't have it 100% yet, so I'd like more practice. But
No, well, yeah, no, practice is good. I mean, we're not sure if we're... wait, was that, sorry?
7.
Sorry, I didn't hear that. Haven't?
I feel like I'm at like a 7.
Okay, all right, yeah. Well, should we go over creating at least one of those for one of these objects, or should I let you do that as a homework or something? It's up to you guys.
I feel comfortable reviewing it with my own stuff, but I'll update myself on that.
All right, yeah. It's up to you guys. Okay. Well, yeah, I'll leave it up as a test for you guys to do it for each, at least for now. Yeah. Well, Dave, how do you feel comfortable getting it to work?
Yeah.
Okay.
As long as I got the database down, the create, edit, delete should be fine. I just have to go over those videos again.
Yeah. Just go over that and create them. Later on, I'll show you a way that it does it for you.
What?
Yeah. There is a way, but I mean, it's just a very generic way to do it, and which you don't usually use. Like, it's not really used, but I'll show you how to do it so it generates it automatically. It's called scaffolding. Was that?
Scaffolding. I've heard that term. I think the challenge is that there's so many ways to do the same thing, and we've moved ahead a couple times. So it's like the goalposts keep moving and we keep changing the way we do it. So it's just a matter of getting some of these systems down proper rather than doing it differently every way.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, exactly. Especially with with some of those cruds. They're called cruds also. Yes. So let's go to the next one. We're not going to do that now, but just for your own edification, there are things whenever you're dealing with objects, with tables like character, item, some of the basic things, they're called, the basic actions that you can do, they're called cruds, or sometimes you will say scaffolding, depending on what kind of technology you're messing with. Okay, so so crud is short for help me here. So crud they're actions. So create. Okay. What's What is R for? Well, let's keep R. Up. I mean, U. What do you think U would be for? Maybe update, right? And what would D? Remember, these are actions that you do to a database.
Delete.
Yep.
Create, read, update, delete. Okay.
Aha. I actually forgot read. Thank you for reminding me. Yes. So these are the basic IOs. Well, not IOs. Yeah, the basic actions.
It's a read write instruction set.
Yeah, pretty much. These are the basic actions that you can do with database objects, especially with tables. You could get squirrely and do some weird things, but when it comes down to it, these are the basic ones. So if you ever hear in an interview or some kind of test or something, oh, create a crud for this table, the character table, what would you have to do? Well, it says, I mean, create. We have done it before.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just create a page to create a character, read character. Read in this case would be the roster, which is just read the table, the character table, and display the names of the people in there. Update is just update someone on the table, and delete is just delete a character. So the CRUD does that is just basic database actions on objects tables. Scaffolding is a special kind of project, or not even project, a special kind of project or technology that does things for you, or even yourself. Sets up CRUD for tables objects. Okay. So if I asked you to say, hey, or if I told you, hey, I have this cool technology that creates a scaffolding for the weapon table, what would that mean to you?
We want to be able to create a page, read the items from the database, update them, and remove them if necessary.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, yeah, but remember I said that I have the technology, so that technology will do that. That technology will create pages to delete, update, what is it? Read and create tables. In this case, is the weapon table. So that's pretty kick-ass technology, right? It's limited in a way that that's the only thing that it can do, but a lot of the times, in a way, that's sort of kind of what you want to do, right? It's not like it doesn't have to get complicated, right? I mean, there's other things. Yeah, there are other things that
complicated. We'll reach that.
Yeah, no, we'll get there. We'll get to the complicated soon enough. But for now, this will do. Okay, so
do you guys have Google accounts? I could get your email addresses.
Oh yeah, sure. Dead Buddha, that's my jam. That is me. Let me put it over here. At gmail.com. Shablips. Oh, I could just type it here too, I think. Bloop, bloop. Yes. Oh yeah, I could cut and paste all of that. We really should have done that a while ago, but I'm lazy mofo. Okay. So databases, you guys are, innate entity framework. You guys understand what it is. You guys think, actually, I trust you guys with CRUDs. So that will be part. Yeah, that will be part of your assignment or homework or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, try to get it to work. See if you can do it. So now you'll be able, hopefully you'll be able to do it. Um, Now the next thing that I wanna work on or I want to talk about is once we move out. Well, we have I think done as much as we're going to do at least for now um, with databases. Of course, I am lying to you right now because um, you guys are aware. Like we haven't really explored. We have we're gonna keep it simple like this, right? But you guys remember earlier that I spoke about relationships um, between databases, I mean tables in the database? Well, you did, right? Okay. So, can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so now just pretend, right? This is just pretending. This is just pretending here. Let's make believe that a character, right, had a I had another column here, right? And I called it weapon or yeah, call it weapon, which represents which weapon this character has. Okay. Um, does that make sense at all?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. So let's see. Yeah, identification properties, not yet. Yeah, I think we're better off doing. Yeah, for now it's fine. Yeah, so let's make believe that I have, the weapon column here, and well, the weapon property, and in that it points to an ID, and the ID represents which weapon. So, for example, you see, I don't really have any. Oh, do I have weapons? I don't. But let's say in here that I added a column here, and depending on the ID of the weapon, then I would be able to have, that shows the weapon that I have. I know I keep saying the same thing, but it's you guys understand what I'm saying, right? Yeah. So basically, the ID, each single unique weapon here. Let's yeah, sorry, I kind of broke into this a little bit abrupt, but let's do it now, I think, because we can move on unless we actually do this. So give me weapons. I thought I had this created, but I think we create a new one. Okay, so sword, type, edge, 11. It's a sword. I guess damage, A. ID is going to create it. Axe, I think it's edge also. Cost 15. Yeah, we created this before, so it wasn't the other one. And I guess spear. Yeah, actually, let's get bow. I guess piercing, which is a bow here. What is it? 8?
Depends on what bow. A crossbow is 1d8.
Damn, yeah, it's crazy. Okay, so let's just leave it like this for now. We're just trying to keep it simple and do this for an example. Okay, so now we have weapons, right? And do you guys see their IDs? So
yeah.
So what would, I know this is dumb, but what does ID, the weapon with ID 2, which weapon is that?
The axe.
Yeah, it's the axe, right? All right. So if I had a character here, And again, let's say that I wanted to create I have a new column here. It's not gonna let me, but for now, just let's say that I created another column here. No, not this. That says weapon, and I put the number 2 in there, representing the ID. What do you think that will do? I mean, like, what do you think that shows? I just said it, but yeah. No, sorry, it has to be in design. Let's see. Damn it. Give me 1 second, because this thing, I have it set up where it won't let me change it. I'm gonna try to see if it does. But for now, I'm just gonna change this thing here. Do we have MP into any? Well, anyway, let's say weapon. And allow nulls, no. All right. So if I had this, and then I had the number under this column, I had the number 2. What would that represent? And again, we're saying that it's representing something from the weapons table. Which weapon would he have, or she have? This is annoying. Sorry. I have a special settings that won't let me update it. But, I mean, you guys understand what I'm saying here, right? Somewhat. Oh, crap. Yeah, sure, whatever. I'm messing it up here a little bit. Yes. So again, I mean, there would be a relationship between the character table and the weapons table, correct? Do you guys get that, sort of, a little bit?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, no. I think I'm better off introducing that later, or nah. Let me take a minute and do this correctly. All right? Because it's an important.
We did kind of talk about it before.
We did. Oh, so you guys are not totally lost. Okay.
No, it's if I have my mouse away from the screen, I'm not talking, and I'm trying to talk to you. It's I'm not showing up on Discord. But yeah, we did go over it.
Okay. Yes.
You have to create another table and link the IDs together on that table.
Damn! You guys remember that? Sweet.
Yeah.
That's very, man. You guys are way beyond. But yes. But you could also do that just with one, right? But that is if we had more than one. Like if one character could have a bunch of weapons. But yeah, no, that is correct. You guys are correct, and you need to create relations tables, kind of like you call it, like character weapons or character items. And it's pretty. They're very, very powerful. But I don't know if we can introduce this right now, or at least not yet. But it's a good thing that you guys remember this. Actually, you know what? In fact, okay, let's do it. Let's see, just wall. We might as well just do it. Let's see.
Do it live.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it live. It did not accept our changes before. Okay, which is good. Okay, so let's say I wanted to create. Well, a character can have. Well, let's go with items. Okay, a character can have many items. So, how would I go and represent that in a table? Do you guys remember? Well, you should, because we did before. So let's create a table. I'm gonna assume that you guys are sort of hip over here, and you guys are you will remember. So what this table is going to represent is how many items a character has. So, and we're going to do that by linking the ID from a character to the ID of the item. Can a character have more than one item?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so that is good. So normally this table will have just two properties, two columns. One will, let's call it the character ID, right? Character ID. And the other one is what?
Weapon ID.
That is correct. Or item ID, yes, whichever we're doing. Do not allow nulls. All right. Let's see. Character ID, and the other one is, well, do you guys want to do weapons or items? It's up to you. Let's do weapons, yeah. I think it's weapon ID. It's more hip. Here we go. And then let's call it character weapons. Okay, weapon ID, character weapons. Let's see. Now, let me ask you a question. Let's see. Well, let's call it character weapon. Let's see if they allow it. Character weapons. That's what we're calling this bad boy here. Okay, so since we created this table for a reason, again, tell me, what is this table supposed to represent, because we created it and we're going to be using it. Go ahead. Well, it says it in the name. I mean, what is this table for? What are we going to use it for?
The weapons that the characters have.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I know. I just want you guys to say it. Yes. Yeah, it's the character, the weapons that the character has. And right now, nobody has shit right here, right? So, let's say let's get a character over here. All right, who wants some shit right here? Well, let's go with me right here. I'm a bard wizard. So, I want a bow and a sword, I guess, right? So, well, what's my ID?
4.
My ID is 4. Okay, so, well, let's just keep track of that for now, right? So, 4, that's my ID. And which weapons do I want? I want a sword and a bow. So it would be 1 and 3, correct? The ID 1 and ID 3. Are you guys good with that?
Yep.
Okay, so this is just for us to remember. Okay, great. All right. So again, since we said this table is going to represent who has what weapons, or which weapon is related to which character, let's put it. So let's edit or add. Let's add them. So the first weapon is, well, who wants the weapon? Who has it?
4.
Yep, which is me. And the weapon ID is going to be probably 1, because the first one is a sword, correct? Beautiful. And it's me again. And this time the weapon is what? I think it's 3, because it's a bow. Okay. So I have just given myself 2 weapons here. And I'm gonna close it and see what do I have. Let's see, does anybody have any weapons? I'm going to execute this again here. Okay, so whoever the character ID is 4 has 2 weapons over here, which is pretty cool. He has weapon ID 1 and 3. And of course, if I wanted to know, hey, first of all, how do I find out who character 4 is? How do I go? Where do I go? And how do I find that out? Do you guys know?
You can't just right click on that, can you?
Where, here?
Yeah.
Nope.
Nah.
Well, we assume that it's somebody from the character table, right? With the ID 4.
Yes.
Yeah, so how do I do that? How do I go check?
I mean, you want to go right to the character table?
Oh, yeah, no, yeah, that's what I'm asking. Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Yeah, no, yeah. Yeah, remember, it's the flow of things, the flow of information. Yeah, yes, so exactly, yeah. So we go to the character table, and we go to look through the IDs, and okay, so boom. Okay, so this guy has ID 4. I know this is simple and stupid and stuff, but it's very important for you guys to remember these steps, because when you're dealing with other tables or real tables or trixier tables, you're gonna want to remember this, because it could get pretty hairy. Yes, so yeah, so we go there and we say, hey, who's it with ID 4? And it's Caesar. Okay, so now we go back here and say, okay, so he has, well, Caesar, right? So he's 4. He has weapon ID 3 and weapon ID 1. So again, how do I check out what weapon ID 1 and weapon ID 3 is? We go to the
weapons table.
Yeah, go to the weapon. I know it's easy, but got to do it. Go to the weapons table and do 1. You know, so ID 1 and ID 3. So he has this one, and he has this one. Okay, so does that make sense to you? Somewhat. Yeah, it's straightforward. It's legit. It's good, and it feels good. It feels good. You guys feel that? Does it feel good? Yes, of course. So now I'm gonna give it to you, just like DMX. Are you ready? Okay. Now that we have this here, we have this, and well, now let me show you something kind of cool. Do you see on here? We go here, right, on this table. Right now, these dudes here, right? They kind of they represent character and weapons, but they don't, not really. I mean, you and I, us three know that that's what it means, right? But the database doesn't. The database doesn't know what it is. Like we just wrote character ID here, and we got a 4, or a weapon ID, and we have a 3. But really, it doesn't know what it is. You and I know it because that's what we agreed on. But we haven't told the table, hey table, this is a key or an ID from the character table. Or hey table, these IDs are IDs that represent weapons, right? So let's try to do that. This is the tricksy part, but let's try it. This is big boy stuff here. You guys ready to do some big boy stuff or big girl stuff? Okay.
Big person stuff.
Was that? Oh yes, exactly. Yeah, let's go. Exactly. Yeah, a big person stuff. Yes. Okay, so we go like this, right? So let me know if you. I'm gonna go like this, right? Boom. Let's see. Is there anything over here? Relationships, indexes, keys, columns, insert columns. Well, I mean, it could be primary. It is good stuff. And we're just exploring right now, right? Don't worry about it. This is just like we're doing keys here, and we're doing keys here, and indexes. So new foreign key. All right. So do you guys remember what the primary key is for a table? Correct? Yeah. I'm sorry, Dan, go ahead.
Yeah, it's the one that that we use to identify it, it'll increment on its own.
That's a little different, but yes, yeah, it represents a unique value for a table. And there must always be a value for that table. Just remember that. It cannot be null. You guys remember that one. It's very important.
Yeah.
Okay, so this table is kind of a special table where it's displaying information from another table. So the key, it's the primary key for these are on another table. So let me tell you, this is the way that we tell the database that, hey, you see this character ID here? We are referring to the character ID from the character table, right? Or you see this weapon ID here? We're talking about the weapon ID from the weapon table. And how you do that is by creating keys. It's a special key called a foreign key. Are you guys ready with this? Yeah. I might not be ready for this. I haven't done this in a while.
Foreign key. Okay.
Yeah, yes. Again, this is kind of advanced stuff, so don't feel bad, or we might skip this or something, but let's see. I mean, since you guys are doing it so well, I figured might as well, why not, right? Just give it a little taste. Yeah, you're not supposed to be doing this thing for a while yet, but anyway, let's see. Okay, so let's see what it says. New foreign key. All right, don't freak out. Don't freak out. It's all good. All right. So let's see, tables and columns. So I'm going to click here. So primary key tables. So where does the first one belong to? What table does it belong to? I think it's character, right? Right here. Let's see. Foreign key table, yes. Let me see if it asks. Okay, so that's yeah, that's fine. That is correct. What? Give me 1 second. That is weird. Normally, you can do this. Foreign key table, character. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I forgot that you could click down here. Okay, so in character, which one do we want to be? Well, in character, which is the column? Which is the ID column?
ID.
Yeah, I guess. Yes, there. Okay. So let's see, foreign key table. Let's see. So in here, we're saying, okay, so in this table, this ID is gonna be linked to this table here. All right. Okay, and I think that's it. That's weird because normally, and then the next one, I think is weapon. God damn it. That is freaking weird. Weapon ID. Weapon ID.
Is it only letting you do one?
Yeah, this is really odd. Because it's supposed to let me do both because they're both oh no, I think this is a different one. Let's see, yeah, character, yeah, that's on. Well, let's see what
I remember us going through this the first time.
Yeah, it's been a while, so just, I mean, If it lets me, it won't. Oh, I fucked that up. Yeah, no, we're correct. Watch. Because remember, I clicked here. And they could probably, okay, so character here. All right. Let's see what else we got over here. So tables, columns, name ID. All right. I think this one only allows. Oh. Okay. I think we need to add a new one then. I think it only allows you to do one per. Okay. Yeah, it's only letting me do one. Yeah. Where is it? Hold on. Okay, with this one, and then we go. Where was it? Here. And then weapon, and then this one ID. This one is gonna go with weapon ID. There we go. Okay, that makes sense a little bit. I will repeat this in a little bit because I just remembered it's one per. But do me a favor and don't freak out for a little bit. I'm just gonna close it, hopefully. Okay, I'm gonna close it again. Hopefully it will save. The following tables will receive to your database. Yes. Okay, I'm just doing some squirrely stuff for now. Don't worry about it. I just gotta test it here. Beautiful. Okay, so what I did here, right? I will go back and do this again, by the way, and create this, but right now, or you could just go back in the video, but what I want you to understand for now is that by creating these foreign keys, right, I am linking these IDs, the character IDs, to the ID, the character ID to the character table. Let's see. Wait. Yeah. So you see, if I click on this, the key that I created, I'm saying, hey, connect the ID, connect the character ID in our table here to the table character and the ID there. I will explain why we want to do this in a second, but I just want you to don't get too hung up on how to do it. Just is the concept is the important thing. Okay, so this creates a connection in a way here, which is cool. So what does this foreign key represent? The one that I created here. If I click it and I look at this, explain to me what is it supposed to do, or what is it?
It ties the weapon ID into the character weapon table.
Yeah.
From the weapon table.
Exactly. Yeah. So it takes so it means that in the table, the character weapons in the field or column weapon ID represents a weapon from the weapon table, and it's used the ID. And it's kind of straightforward, but creating it is a little tricky. But you guys understand that that's what it represents, correct? That's what we're getting to. Okay, sweet. And they're called foreign, well, kind of foreign keys. Okay, so again, you guys have the idea, and it's cool. We have that that cool thing that we can link. So now, again, remember how we were talking about before that only you and I knew that they were connected because we say, hey, we named it character ID or weapon ID, and that we assume that's what it was. But now officially, in the system, the database knows that that is what it means. And this, it's a very strong thing to have, especially if you have a relational database. Because let's say, for example, that I get a character. I get a character from the character table, right? Let's go. It's over here, right? So let's say I have a character from the character table, right? So now inherently, so let's say I get a character with the ID 4. And that would be me, that's Caesar. So the best way to remember this is, or understand it, is that now the database knows how many weapons that I have. Right? I mean, again, just assume that we're right and just accept it. Take it on faith for now. But now assume that the database knows how many weapons I have. Because we have a table somewhere that says, hey, this guy has these weapons, and which is this table here. Before we did this, before we created the foreign keys, the table or the database did not know what we have, because nothing was telling it that these things were connected to any table. We just assumed that. We just kind of made it up. It could be like anything here, like Chuck E. Cheese or whatever. It doesn't matter. But now it says, hey, this information here is connected to tables and is legit. So now, okay, so far so good. 1 to 10. You guys sort of understand that? You guys on a 6 at least?
Higher than that, probably 8, 9.
Oh, man, 8s. Bold statements, my friend. Okay, this is good. I like 8s. 8s are good. All right. So now, let's try this here. Let's check this out. So again, we have changed the database, right? So what are we supposed to do in our environment in Visual Studio whenever we update the database? What do we do?
Right click.
Exactly. We right click and we update the model, right? We got to update, get the latest changes. So, basically this says, hey, add any tables that we got and refresh any tables, views, and procedures, and I guess delete whatever that was deleted. Okay, so let's see what happens. So I'm going to say finish. Okay. No, yeah. We're gonna be crashing.
Navigation properties down there.
Yeah, yeah. That's where I'm. That's where I kind of ignore this for now, but that's sort of what I'm getting at. Do you guys see something? Something cool here.
There's a link.
Yes.
Yeah. Tying them together.
Yep. So yeah, these are actually, it's not even error. It's just a warning. So don't pay any attention to this. Yeah. So do you guys see something cool? Well, first of all, remember, always scroll down, see if there's anything. There isn't. But the table that we created doesn't show up in here. But tell me, do you see anything new that is in here that shows up?
Yeah, there's a weapon under the character table and a character underneath the weapon table.
Yeah. So when we created this table here, right? Connecting the weapons and the character, and then we updated the database. Entity Framework is smart enough to grab those relationships. They're called relationships, by the way. To grab those relationships and kind of map them and create cool stuff for you, cool connections that you can use. So now, you see now in character, right? We have something called weapon. I guess we should have called it weapons. I don't know. Well, weapons fine. Yeah. So let's explore that. Let's explore it. Don't get lost. Don't get confused. Let's just go with the flow and let's explore it. So now we have updated our database and we have updated our model in our code. So let's create a character. Let's create a character in our code. Well, let's see Bobby. Let's see what Bobby's up to. Let's or should we just do it from the scratch? Or are you guys good at Bobby? Yeah, let's just do it from scratch. I think it's easier. All right, right here. So let's create a character. Let's create a new character. Character, and then well, that's kind of the long way. We don't even need to create any characters. Let's say that I wanted to see characters from the database. I want to get character with the ID 4 just to see what he looks like. Okay, so how do I do that? I want to get the character with the ID 4 from the database. Do you guys know where that is? I want this guy. You guys remember how to get?
First, we want to create a new instance of the database.
That's right. Oh, yes. So, exactly. So, whenever you deal with anything with the database, create that connection and then use that connection. So, we're going to call it DB new, and then we call it game DB. So now we have a connection to the database, and what where do we want information from? Which table?
Character table.
Okay, so let's say create our character or just a character. And then how do I get something from the database, from the character table? You guys remember? Find, exactly. And I want it with the ID 4. Remember, find goes by ID, primary key. All right, so at this point, can I assume that I got the character with the ID 4? Which character would that be under this circumstance right there?
Server.
Yeah, it would be me. So under character, what kind of properties do I have? What kind of fields? I have a job, I have age, level, gold, race, HP, and MD, and an ID, correct? Okay, so all right, I went to the database, I got the character, and I put it here. So now I have a handle on this character. So how do I explore what's inside that character? How do I get in there? How do I see what the character has and what I have access to? What can I see?
Character dot.
That is right. Let me get a sip of this water here. This water's sweet. Okay, so let's see. So we got age, gold, HP, we got an ID, got a job, right? Have level, MP, name, race, same things, right? But then, what's this?
Weapon.
Look at that. And what is weapon? What is it? Do you guys know? What does it look like it is? If I hover over it.
Looks like a model.
It is, yeah. It's But what you guys remember what an eye collection is? It's a
It's a
list.
list.
Ah.
Yeah. Sorry, I should have explained this a while ago. Eye collection is another name for list. It's the subclass for a list. So if you ever see anything called like eye collection or eye enumerable, that means it's a list of some sort. I really should have, yeah. But from now, try to remember. Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, it does say it's a collection of some sort. So it's a collection of weapons, right? So, well, let's see. So it's a collection. So for now, I'm just gonna assume that it's there. So let's run this code and stop and see what it looks like from the inside. You guys ready?
Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna run this. Remember, we're doing this in the contact index because that's how cool we are. Okay. So I'm gonna go to the contact, home contact. Here we go. By clicking on this, boom. Okay, so here I am. I created a connection to the database. In here, I am trying to get the character with the ID 4 and put it here so I can get a handle on it. And then I'm going to go to the next, the next line. So after what I am here, that means that I have executed this code up here, correct? Yes. So I'm going to hover over the character and see what's inside. Are you guys ready? Let's see what we got. So we got character. Okay, so age. So 169, gold 33, HP 11, ID 4, job. So this is Caesar, the name Caesar. So this is what we were expecting. This is the character we wanted, correct?
Yes.
It is. But do you guys see something cool? Like you see weapon here? So it says count 2. Yeah. So it says I have 2 weapons, right? And when I hover over it, I can see, because remember, this is something of weapon type that we already have, right? So if I click on it, it says, hey, it's something of weapon type. And let's see what's the first weapon. If I want to see what the first weapon is, oh, look at that. It's information about the weapon, about the first weapon.
That's amazing.
It is, right? You guys see this?
I'll be honest, I'm not entirely sure how to make that usable.
No.
It's neat.
Oh, no, you'll see why. It is extremely powerful. It is ridiculously strong and powerful because it saves you a lot of work. You'll see why later. But you saw that the objects know how they're kind of connected to each other, sort of now, right? Because in the database we connect them, and now our code knows that they are connected as well. So you guys see weapon. So I look at my second weapon, and my second weapon's a bow, piercing, with the ID 3, damage, and so on. Also, it's a two-way connection. So remember, this is a bow, right? And the character that has a bow is me. So it's kind of a cyclical or not cyclical. Yeah, it shows you who has what, at least for this type. Don't forget about that. But anyway, so you guys see, the important thing is to remember that in the database we connected the weapons with a character. And now we in our game or in our code we can do the same thing. So now let me show you something cool though. Are you guys ready? I don't even know if this is going to work, but bear with me here. I know I'm hitting you guys hard. Your mind, right? So what if I said, check this out. I don't even know if this is going to work, but what if I said character dot weapon dot add, right? All right. So, and then I'm going to create a, I don't know, a new weapon, I guess. And give it a new weapon. This is just, you know, a way of creating things. Don't, yeah. So I could give it a new weapon here, by the way, and just add a weapon on this character here, and then it will reflect on this table here. So basically, through this code here, you see this is not through the character. I can handle everything related to this character. I mean, through this object. I could handle, or yeah, I can manage the weapons, the items, and pretty much everything about this character through the relations that this character has. So I could give him a new weapon, or just give him, or take away one of his weapons, or just delete all his weapons. Like watch. If I said, well, I don't even know if this works, but let's see, character weapon dot, if I say clear, and then db dot save changes, what do you think that is going to do?
It's gonna take all the weapons away.
Well, let's see.
Clear them from
the table. So he will not have any more. Well, let's see if it works. We're not sure yet. Hopefully it will. If we don't crash, it works. Okay. Let's see. Oh, yeah. No, sorry. Yeah, we have no delete. Yeah, the way that we created the mapping, it's kind of weird, but don't worry about it. But you get the idea anyway. We have some kind of safety measures put in. But anyway, so you guys understand that through the character instance, right? I could look at the weapons and sort of add weapons or take away weapons, correct? Because this represents the collection of weapons that that character has. Is that clear? At least a little bit?
yes.
Okay. And yeah, so we have that cool connection that we just created. And do you guys see how cool this map is too? Look at that, look at that. That's pretty sweet, right? Do you guys see that map?
Yep.
It is a nice map. Okay, so now I'm going to hurt you now. Okay. Okay. Let's see. I don't even know if I can bring it up here. I don't think I can. I think I have to be connected, but let's see anyway. Let's give it a checkity check and see if this works. It might not. It's gonna take a while to load. This project is kind of big. Okay. So yeah, so you guys at least have a 7 or an 8 here so far, which again, that is very impressive. You guys understand this? How this creates kind of navigation properties. How you could go from one to the other and see how these two tables are related. And you say it tells you, hey, this table is related to this table, and it tells you how. Okay, let's see. So, okay. So remember that this is kind of convention and whatnot. Got all these things here. Entity. Get generic helpers here. Do you guys see an EDMX file here somewhere? Probably
Got
this.
Albion.
Yeah, probably this guy, right? So this kind of file is kind of similar to our file. Let's see if it works or if it looks sort of like ours. Which hopefully it should. Maybe, I don't know. Again, this is kind of advanced. I think. Oh, it's trying to open the other one. Good deal. I'm not even using this one here. All right, yeah. So let me give you guys a. This is the actual work database, and this is what a real database looks like, pretty much. Well, our database is kind of stupidly big, so don't let it, intimidate you. But you guys see what this is, sort of? It is exactly the same thing as what we're doing now. No more, no less. They just have different names and different information. Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. It's just don't be intimidated by the size. That's right. That's right. That's what I always tell them. But anyway, yes, it's pretty much the same thing. It's you got tables and you got some tables that are connected to other tables and some that are not. So don't get
I see. If we were making like a game of some sort, it could easily get to that kind of size.
Oh yeah, probably bigger, but yes. And the thing is, they seem scary when you don't create them. When you create them and you look at them, it's like, of course there's a table for spells, or of course there's a table for art, items or monsters or something. Of course, I mean, where else would you keep it, right? So the domain, that's what it's called, the domain. Like the knowledge for what you're dealing with makes sense to you, right? And that's what it's called, a domain in the programming lingo. Like this stuff doesn't make sense to you because you don't know what it is. You're not working with it. But for a person that worked with these things like this, they do, or the person that created it.
How do you keep all that in order? Like, especially if it generates it and puts it in a weird place.
You could make it so it doesn't. Yeah. Like us, we don't really we don't use this one so much. We just use the one in the database. But yeah, you don't really use this that much. We just use it to update stuff.
You know what? This reminds me of a node view in a lot of visual work.
Well, it is, yeah. It's like Visio.
I don't know what Visio is. I mean like effects, special effects work.
Oh, you mean like what do you call that? A God damn it! The same thing they have in a video. A pipeline.
Close, yeah.
Something.
If you're familiar with music equipment, if you're doing patchwork on analog, the node view looks a lot like that. It's just patches to different things that you're working with, different like compositing or specific effects works.
Yeah, no. So it's kind of it's like that. It's a designer view. Yeah, so there's like Visio or all that good stuff. They have quite our project crashed for some reason because I think the other thing crashed. But yeah, so again, so the point is, don't be intimidated by the databases or things you see, because it's well, it might not make sense to you right away. Eventually it would, or it will, or if you made it yourself, it does, or it will, I guess. But yes, you see, like this here is ours, and if we wanted to grow this, it would become pretty big with lines everywhere that stuff is connected to different things, right? For example, item, a character could have many items, right? So you would draw some from here to there. And then you would have spells, which again, a character could have spells, right? And then let's say there's weapons, but there are kind of like subclasses of weapons. Like let's say edges. Like you had a huge list of edge weapons. And I mean, I don't know if you divide it like that. It's all how you want to divide it. But you got or items or food items or I don't know. It all depends how you create the database or how you want to manage and order the information. You could just get one huge database. I mean, one huge table and use one table, and then put everything, all pieces of information in there. Um, in the first place, but that wouldn't be very good. Okay, so how are your brains? Are your brains all right? We kind of
Surprisingly okay.
yeah, we kind of stepped back a little bit. Well, not step back. We went over and solidified some of this knowledge, and we extended our knowledge of some of the DB and the DB relations. And that is extremely good that you guys understand how and well, you guys sort of inherently understand or pretty quick that how one it's a well, one table can relate to another, and how you could have one table that connects two different tables, and how we could use them in code. That is super advanced though. That's some this poofy stuff right there. That's like junior to mid level right there too. So that is legit. Well, next time I want you guys to finish your project and make sure it works, and then we will move on to the next things. We will take it easy a little bit on the database parts, especially. I mean, we will kind of expand on this, but you understand the concept, and so we won't spend that. We'll just add stuff, not explain it, and then use it. And if you want to explain it, we might take a few minutes, but we're not going to spend that much time on it. You could go back in the video or something, unless it's like really tricky or something like that. But yeah, that is your assignment, and then we will move on and do more stuff. Now, before we move on, again, let me ask you a question. Well, when we started, right, this sort of looked a little bit intimidating, and you didn't know what the fuck was up. So, I mean, if you look at this now, does it make a little bit more sense?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Although the way this is drawn is kind of weird. But yeah, I mean, you understand the controller, and the controller goes to a view, and the controller can just, get a model and get the model information and fill the model from the SQL or the server, I mean, like the database, and then pass it to the view and back and forth, right? And then you got the controller that goes to the view, the action. And so you guys sort of, you guys get that. Let's see, there's another one here, is it? Yeah, I mean, yeah, you guys remember the controller, the action. Yep. So again, if I have a path and I go to a controller, what is the next step? Where is the path? What's the next step? Where should it go next in the controller? What should it go to?
In action.
Exactly. Boom. Yeah. And then in that action, you go somewhere else. But usually, where do you go?
A view.
God damn it. Yes. You guys are pretty sweet. You guys are very, very sweet. Okay. And remember the web request. We got a client, which is some kind of web page, well, a browser, and we send a request. Our request, remember that our pages are where? They're on a web server somewhere.
Yeah.
And we have our HTML pages and our DLLs there. Don't forget about that. We're going to be visiting that. And then also we might have access to a database as well. We will be moving on to more programmity type things, classes, expansion of classes, inheritance, and some of the cooler stuff. That way, we can move on to stuff that we want to do and make more monies. But you guys are ridiculously advanced now, I think. But one more thing, just a minute. So now looking at this, let's see how we're doing on the stack. Okay. So I know that when we started, this looked like, I know it looked confusing and like, what the fuck is all this shit, right? But hopefully it doesn't look as confusing now. Like the .NET stack, we know what the stack is. The .NET stack is somewhat, right? I mean, do you guys know what the stack is? Microsoft stack? You have sort of an idea. It's a combination of all these things. Do you know what ASP sort of is with an ASP NVC? Yeah. Well, you know what NVC is. You know the technology, which is how to make pages, how to make web pages with NVC, ASP. Well, you do, right? I mean, that's what we've been doing all along.
That's yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Do you have you have an idea what C# is, right? Somewhat.
Pretty.
Yes. Yeah. LinkU, we have not. That is one of the kind of more advanced and more not interesting, but it solidifies this part here, kind of, and we will get there. It ties everything together in a way. HTML5, you guys have an idea what HTML5 is, right? JavaScript, yes. And now you know what Entity Framework is, right? So it's pretty sweet. So user interface, we've seen HTML5, CSS, JavaScript. We haven't done Ajax yet. These we will do soon. But you have an idea.
It's an acronym, right?
Which one? I'm sorry.
Ajax.
Ajax. Yes, it is.
A mix of a bunch of different things.
No, it's asynchronous, JavaScript, active, something. I don't know. I mean, it's
good enough.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's very important though. Ajax is what lets you. When you click on a link, you can
script and XML.
Yeah. Oh no, that's well, I don't know. Sorry, I couldn't hear you 100% there.
Asynchronous, JavaScript, and XML.
Oh, and XML. Yes, there you go. Yes, I forgot the last two. Yeah. So all Ajax is when you're on a web page, especially on an MVC web page. Do you know when you click on something, you're basically going to a controller and then an action and then you return the whole view, right? With Ajax, you don't need to return the whole view. You could just return, some information, any kind of information, and update the page with that information without having to do the whole page. Excuse me, sorry. It's I'll explain it a bit better later, but it is one of the most powerful things and important things that you're gonna need to know, which we will be doing soon when we focus on the more UI stuff. But yeah, I mean, you guys are kind of decent with the middle, somewhat, which is what we've been working on a little bit. And you guys know SQL databases. How do you feel about SQL databases?
Getting comfortable in it.
Yeah. And how .NET uses Entity Framework to access data. Okay, so yeah, so slowly but surely, we're almost halfway there, and we're living on a prayer. That's right.
Wait, that's Oracle. Basically, what we've been doing with the Entity Framework.
Yeah, it's the same thing. You could do the same thing with.
Interesting.
Oh yeah. The cool thing about Entity Framework is that it's a wrapper over a database, right? And remember how it lets you. This is really one of the most important things and powerful is that. Remember how it lets you use objects in our code, right? As a as database objects like tables and whatnot. It lets you interact with them. So let's say that I have, it wraps around the SQL server and we have all these character objects and items, right? The same thing is gonna be the same thing for Oracle. You don't have to kind of know Oracle in order to interact with Oracle databases. You could just I know, powerful, right? You could just directly use them as objects. Use programmatically, interact with the tables. So it's really, really powerful, and it's I think one of the better points. So you could just say, "Oh yeah, have you ever worked with Oracle databases?" Personally, I haven't. I think I tried messing around with it a long time ago, but no, not really. But all you need to do is the same thing. Remember how we connected Entity Framework in a connection with databases with a SQL Server? You could do pretty much the same, or well, similar to an Oracle database, and then you could interact with it. That way, you don't need to know SQL, or again, in this one, it's an Oracle queried language. You could just use the objects themselves to query it, which is again really powerful, and it provides a whole different layer of you not having to interact with certain technology, and you could just treat it the same. Does that make sense at all? Sorry. And the coolest part is, like, let's say you build your code to work with SQL Server, right? Then let's say you have to change to an Oracle database. Normally that would take a fuck ton of work, but all you need to do is just change your mappings to work with Oracle, which of course is a little tricksy, but it's a little work. But then your code, the code itself, won't have to change. Like the dot save changes, or the dot, table dot find or get or whatever, all that stuff, all your code will stay the same. It's just the background of how you're accessing the database, or which database you're accessing changes. So it's kind of powerful. Okay, so you guys got your homework. I think I forgot to say some other stuff, but that's fine. Maybe not. So we're moving on. Hopefully you feel comfortable with this. And next time we're going to be moving on to more programming in C# and probably some UI stuff. So we could start doing real projects. Okay, so how do you guys feel about this? You guys all right? You guys good?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I know I hurt your brain today. My bad. Okay, so I'll see you guys Thursday.
Yep.
Sounds good.
Okay, take it easy and get on that homework, though.
Shall do.
All right. Later. Okay, later.